Well, hello to you, my viewers, my subscribers, the folks that have come in and liked the video, commented on it. I had 3 comments as to what I should do a video about. And one of those comments was, what would I say to a young me just entering the military in training? Yep, so I had that comment. And that's the first one I'm going to address. I had 2 others, but that's the first one I'm going to address. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter if you're in the military or if you're not in the military. This advice is the same either way. And that is, don't worry about tomorrow. It's got worry enough of its own. It's kind of been around since biblical times that was the truth. And the reality is that driving down the road, by the way, that's why I'm probably not looking at y'all much. You can't be distracted driving. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. If you're on the road and you're driving, pay attention to the stinking road. Don't. That's got nothing to do with military or civilian. That's everywhere. If you're driving down the road, look at the road. Pay attention. Other people's lives are in your hands when you do that. And that's why you don't pay attention to tomorrow. And when we say don't pay attention to tomorrow, if it ain't right where you're working, if it ain't a part of what you got to do, don't pay attention to it. There's troubles at home. Oh, well, there's going to be troubles at home. There's troubles in my relationship. Oh, well, there's going to be troubles in my relationship. When you're in the military, everything you do has a strong possibility of getting someone hurt or killed. When you don't pay attention to what you have to do, then you take a chance that you're going to get that person hurt or killed, somebody else. So many times, we have a lot of people that die in training accidents in the military. You don't got to worry about dying in a combat zone. You could be training and die because you weren't paying attention. So you need to pay attention to what you're doing. And like I said, that other stuff is outside of your wheelhouse at that time. You can't deal with it, right? So I don't need to pay attention to it. Everything that's going on is going to go on whether I'm paying attention or not, because I have a job to do. So I got to stay focused on the job I have to do. Don't worry about all that stuff. Clear that from your head. Don't let yourself think about what's going to happen in this thing or in that thing. Stay focused on your job and do the job you have before you. The military calls that compartmentalizing. They got these psychologists or psychiatrists, I don't know. They got the folks that are at mental health, the place no one wants to go. And when you go there, they're going to tell you that when you do something like this and you pay attention to what you have at hand, it's called compartmentalizing. They say it may be good for getting the mission done, but it's really bad for being in the world. So I'm going to tell you, you do have to address those issues at some point. Don't just sit there and say, well, I've put this off onto the side shelf, I've boxed it up for later, and I'm never going to look at it again. No, you got to look at it. And you got to address it, but you got to do it when that's your job. That's what I'm doing at that time, is addressing this issue. I don't have anything else going on. I've taken my time, and I'm focusing on this thing that was causing me so much trauma at that time. So that's important to do. Stay focused on what you have to do. Compartmentalize, as bad as they make that sound, do it. And stay focused on the job, because when you deploy and you have a mission before you, if you're thinking about back home and everything happening, you're not doing what you need to do for that mission. So yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you. Compartmentalize, stay focused on what you have to do. Your best friend in the world just got blown up right in front of you. Well, if you freak out and worry about that situation and not the mission you have to do, there's a lot higher chance something else bad is going to happen around you. So yep, there's number 1. Stay focused and don't worry about tomorrow. It's got worry enough of its own. Now, number 2 that I'm going to tell you is something that you need to do is don't forget who you are, right? You go in there, into the military with values. And I don't care whether you're seeing combat or don't see combat. I don't care whether you're just in training and get kicked out before you ever even get your chance to actually be in the military. Don't forget who you are, right? Because no matter what you do, it is going to change you. The military will change you. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. Some parts of your life will be for the good. Some parts of your life will be for the bad. That's just what it is. But don't think of that as just military either. Because if you get into a relationship with another human being, sometimes it's going to change your life for the good, and sometimes it's going to change your life for the bad. Some parts of your life will be changed for the good, and some parts of your life will be changed for the bad. Just like our relationship with Jesus Christ. You know, sometimes when we get in a relationship with Jesus, believe it or not, it ain't always roses. Sometimes it's a struggle. We say, "Oh, Lord, why?" That's the point. It's part of life. Every time we go through it, things are going to seem hard, and things are going to seem easy, and things are going to seem good, and things are going to seem bad. I can tell you that relationship with Jesus is 100% overall for the good. That doesn't mean there won't be moments when you're sitting there with your hands over your head saying, "Why, God, why? I don't understand." But these things happen. So yeah, that's number 2. Be prepared to change. You're going to change. But remember that core of who you are. Don't allow yourself to be swayed by what everybody else in your unit's doing. Don't allow yourself to be swayed by what your leadership is telling you should be doing. You know, no one can keep you from having God with you. Some people will say they will. Man, no one can stop you from a prayer in your head. That ain't never going to happen. And from my experience, most of the time, that's why they got a chaplain in every unit. Because they kind of know that someone that's spiritually well is going to be better at doing their task. So do that. And as you go in there knowing who you are, be firmly founded in who God is in your life. Because here's a little secret. It doesn't matter if you are in that training environment or if you are in a deployed environment. The reality is, when a mortar comes in and kills somebody, there's nothing they could have done to train better not to be killed by that mortar. When a rocket comes in and injures somebody, there's nothing they could have done better to prevent that. When an IED blows you up, sometimes you could say, "Oh, there's something I could have seen and I should have known that was a IED." Other times you didn't know anything was there. They did a really good job of burying it. It was in there good. And you know what? You couldn't change that. Our minds have to be able to rationalize the things that are around us. And so you got to look at that stuff that comes with the military and combat as another act of God. And I'm not saying God's out there doing that to people, but what I'm saying is, just like lightning can strike and kill you at any time, same way with things like rockets, mortars, IEDs, they can strike and kill you at any time, right? And so I know that I'm not even worried. If it's my time, it's my time. Okay? That's where I'm sitting at is it my time or is it not my time? Right? But just like the lightning, I have a lot less chance of getting struck by lightning if I don't go out in the storm. Well, you signed up and you said that you would. Yeah. You said you would support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You said you'd do that. So in signing up to do that, you already said, "I'm going out in the storm." So now you're there to dance in the storm, whether you think it's a good idea at this point or not. You already made that commitment. So since you decided to go out in the storm, don't worry about the lightning. You know what I'm saying? If it is, it is. If it ain't, it ain't. But trust in God, because God's got a good and perfect will for your life. Maybe that is to remove you, or maybe that is to promote you. We don't know. We never know what God's will in our life is. And sometimes we hear stories. Enoch, he was removed. God moved him directly up to heaven, not having to die, not having to go through anything. He was like, "Here you are. Yeah, you've been promoted. Here you are to this." Other people, God has given them platforms that just get bigger and bigger so they can reach more people for His glory. We don't know what God's will for our lives is. Sometimes we sit there and wonder. Most people that walked right alongside Jesus didn't understand what was going on, and they weren't going to understand what was going on until after He was gone. And people have studied the words of what was left behind for years. And guess what? Most still don't understand what's going on. Most of them don't. So, yeah, just be firmly founded in God. Stay true to the morals you went in there. Don't let yourself be swayed by what everybody else around you is doing. That's not just military either. That's school, peer pressure, you know. That's adult life when you're hanging out with friends. I mean, that's just a simple thing. Don't let yourself be moved by that. And so then I got a final thing I would say, and this isn't so much for the young you, but this is for the young you as you're getting older. I say we lose a lot of people to training, and we do. And we lose people to combat, and that's true, we do. But the reality is, you're going to have a lot of friends if you stay in that occupation long enough, that when they're done with the military, they were not able to rationalize some of the things they saw. And they're going to drink a little to try to mask that pain they felt. And then they're going to start maybe taking some other stuff because the drinking ain't good enough anymore to try to cover up the hurt that they have. And sooner or later, there ain't enough bottles or pills in this world to cover up the suffering they're going through. And so they're going to make a decision to cease life so that they don't have to feel the pain. And so what I'm telling you is, as you go through that military career, understand that there's people right beside you that even if they look like everything's good, are hurting. And be willing to open up and be honest with them about the way you feel. And then when you leave the military, understand that that wasn't just something you checked in and out of. These are your brothers and sisters. They're going to be your brothers and sisters for life. And so when you get the opportunity to breathe life into them, do that. Do that. Because nothing will better prepare you for that service, for that time that you're there, than that strong foundation in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't know how people get by without it. And I guess they don't, because the numbers tell us that that suicide rate is high. And we don't want to see that get higher. In fact, we want to see it go away. But anyway, there's my advice to a younger guy, girl, going into the military in your training. If I was giving the advice to me, that's exactly what I would say. So I hope that kind of answered what you were wondering. And I hope it's not a problem that you may be shaking around because we're driving down the road, or that I might not be looking at you as much. Anyone that's in the military, thank you for signing up. Like I said, even if you get out before you finished with your training, by going up there and raising your hand and taking the oath, you've done more than most Americans ever will to guarantee our freedoms, and I thank you for that. For those of you who go in there and decide to stay a whole career, thank you. Thank you for the sacrifice. It's not just your sacrifice. Look to your family and tell them thank you for their sacrifice, because it's a sacrifice for everyone for you to serve. But, yep. Love y'all. Hope you're having a wonderful time. We'll be praying for your time from here forward. If you are in the military and you're just joining and just getting started, hey, put us something in here. We'll pray for you. All right. Love y'all. Bye.